brought the defense.
Just a little opening as all the Dynasty need to press forward now.
The pressure getting poured on here in Houston. They're doing a fantastic job.
Kobe, that's so nasty. Oh,
Sick shots from Lisa, though.
oh, kill him. This is all Fletcher's
And
playground.
Rockets just seems to be getting kills left and right on this Zenyatta.
Jayhawk better believe this guy's gonna deliver.
He just murders the back line. Jake! Thank you, Jake. Perfect.
And we are back with what should be the match of the week. Blizzard Arena, are you guys ready? It's time. Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Chris Puckett, and we've got the full crew back in action. Zoe rejoins us here. Great interview with Dak, but now the real party starts here, Zoe.
Is that so?
Yeah,
right.
we got Seoul, we got Houston, and we got to catch everybody up with what happened last night. When you were watching Seoul versus London last night, what was your biggest takeaway?
Well, I think the big surprise and takeaway was that Ryu Jae-hong wasn't playing. And Seoul has been one of the teams, we always praised them for their adaptation and the switches they make, but they didn't happen. Even after halftime, they still didn't put Ryu Jae-hong in or swap any of their strats or their roster in any shape, way, or form. And London Spitfire rolled over them. I can't say it any other way.
London had a big win last night, and we know this morning it was Florida falling at the hands of the San Francisco Shock. Before we get to the overall league standings, we want to remind you of how today is going to play out. We started with Florida going up against the Shock. This is a big one, though. SEOUL Dynasty versus the Outlaws, the battle for third place. And later on, we'll see the Gladiators versus the Boston Uprising. But it's time now to take a look at our full league standings here, guys. Number 1 seed belongs to the New York Excel. Number 2 seed currently belongs to London. Houston comes in with the number 3 seed, and that sets up a big matchup here for SEOUL Dynasty. If they want to reclaim the top 3, remember it's the only top 3 coming into the Stage 1 playoffs, they got to get a big win right now. So let's make some noise and put our hands together for the first squad. Give it up for the SEOUL Dynasty. And the boys taking the stage today, and this SEOUL Dynasty squad started off 5-0, but their last 2 matches, they fell early.
Yeah, they really did not look like themselves at all, particularly the support and tank play. The direction behind them was missing. They were all over the place, getting picked left, right, and center, abused by the DPS from the London Spitfire. But now that Jae-Hong's back in the mix, the head of the household should put everything in order.
Now, Ryu Jae-Hong wasn't in the lineup yesterday. It looks like he may be playing today. But Zoe, what was going on with Ryu Jae-Hong?
Well, I talked to the coaches from the SEOUL Dynasty, and they told me that they specifically practiced with Guido for the very match against the London Spitfire. They wanted to have the element of surprise, since they felt like every opponent will be very familiar with how Ryu Jae-Hong plays. Maybe not so much with Guido. Can't really blame Guido for their loss, though. They just generally look very disjointed.
They got the captain back, though, today, Brent.
They did indeed. So this is going to make a huge difference, in my opinion. Ryu Jae-Hong is a guy who's got a lot of presence around him. He's 26 years of age. He's the team captain for SEOUL Dynasty. And this guy, he brings the hype of his team. He brings the shot calling, the coordination, and also the calmness, you know, calming them down whenever things get a bit hairy. And he's one of those players that you kind of just need. He's like you need him in your starting lineup as a core to really have good performances.
SEOUL was off last night. We'll see how on they are today, because they're going to have some tough competition. Give it up for the Houston Outlaws. The fan favorites representing Texas. So much support in this crowd, and they are going to need that support, because today they're coming in without a star player. But the Outlaws, this is one of the most dangerous teams in the league. They started 0-2. They've won 5 straight and went on a ridiculous 18-0 map run.
In general, across the board, this is a team that you can really just peg as one of the best Western teams currently in the Overwatch League, for very good reason. Whole bunch of talented players across the board. But like you said, Linkser will not be playing today. Clockwork is in his place, that guy right there with the heart on his cheek. And honestly, I was actually relatively impressed with Clockwork's performance in the game against San Francisco Shock the other day. He had some big shoes to fill, but he ended up actually performing relatively well and working around the team.
Can we circle back to the hearts on their faces for a second right here? Like that, that's incredible cute. But yeah, Clockwork filled those big shoes, and that was a last minute swap up. Literally that very morning, Linkster said he's not going to come, and Rokos is actually also not feeling too good today. He's also been getting ill. I guess that happens if you're playing with the guys in a confined space.
And we were talking with Clockwork earlier today, and he said, honestly, we don't even know if Rokos is going to be healthy enough to field.
Yeah.
The star support player is in the lineup. Houston is going to need him, and we got to talk about how these two teams match up a little bit, Crumbs. You have the Seoul Dynasty who is slowing down. Meanwhile, this Houston squad just seems to be getting hotter and hotter as this tournament goes on.
Exactly. The implications for this game are pretty substantial because if the Houston Outlaws are able to go on this 6-game winning streak, that means that they're actually competing for the top dog spot. You could legitimately have them in the run as the best team in the Overwatch League, while the Seoul Dynasty, that was expected to be, that would be on a 3-game losing spree, which would put them towards the middle and possibly the bottom of playoff contention.
Where's your gut going this morning, Bren? Who are you leaning towards?
This is a tough one because Houston Outlaws, I genuinely, if Linkster was in this starting lineup, I would be leaning more towards him. But the way now that Seoul, now that I know they've got their team captain Ryu Jae-hong back in, you got to give them the advantage. And this is a team, you can't discredit them just because they had a sloppy performance against London the other day, because this is a team with tons of history. Back when they were known as the Lunatic High Squad, these guys were winning tournaments all day long. So, I mean, they've got a lot more history compared to the current Outlaws guys. I feel like that might just give them the edge.
I do want to take a moment and look back at some of these issues for Seoul. When they were playing against London last night, they had several performance issues. And Crumbs, Bren, as we take a look at some of the gameplay, what were you guys seeing?
So I think the biggest thing for me was Junkrat, and that's going to play a huge role in today's game because Prophet and Birdwing were swapping out in Junkrat, and it was devastating the Seoul Dynasty. They were not able to deal with the spam coming out. The tires were having so much value that Seoul just fell apart at the hands of these DPS, and today against Jake, Junkrat is his signature hero, and that's going to cause as much trouble as he always brings to the table.
Yeah. Speaking of Jake, I'd love to look at a few of this man's highlights. With Linkster out of the action, you have to think this puts even more pressure on the Star Outlaws player.
Yeah, for sure. And in general, Jake has got massive shoes to fill now, but you made an excellent point about his Junkrat play and how Seoul really struggled to play against it. Now, I don't think it was entirely just that, because there was also the fact that the supports, you could tell they were uncomfortable running Guido and Toby. However, Jake on the Junkrat, he is going to have to perform big, and he has actually shown a weakness, and the fact that they can't deal with this sort of Junkrat Widowmaker composition. And it's a big boon for Outlaws coming into this match. It's a big reason why they are sort of in a position where they can reasonably take this match.
Zoe, I know we are excited for this matchup. A lot on the line. Both teams playing for a top 3 position in the league right now. How are the teams feeling coming into this match?
Well, I know for sure that the Seoul Dynasty are very hyped about this match. A lot of people who are out there in the interwebs might know that Seoul has been talking up the Houston lineup spot ever since this league started. They always were like mentioning Jake in post-game interviews, mentioned the Houston Outlaws and how great they are. And I know a lot of people speculated, thinking like, oh no, they're just trying to get into their heads. Like, they're trolling them. Like, this is like a big kind of troll. But they actually meant it. And looking at where the Houston Outlaws standing currently in the league, that was very justified. So I am super excited for this match.
It's going to be a great match, and I see a lot of gold. I see a lot of green in the audience. Let's first hear it. Who is cheering on the Seoul Dynasty in this matchup? Oh, it just got loud in here. Who wants to see the team from Texas win a big one here for the Outlaws? It's time to kick off this match. Let's send it over to our casters. Monty Dolan, take it away.
Thank you, Puckett. Here we go, guys. Seoul Dynasty taking on the Houston Outlaws. And this one, as the desk mentioned, has some major playoff implications, but some interesting roster stuff going on.
Yeah, that's right. I think the loss of Linkster today, I came in today, Doa, and I was so excited. I thought this is the time for Houston to take a major win.
Yeah.
It's checking all the boxes. Are they going to be playing a Widow Junkrat style with some conservative tanks that we just saw Seoul lose to when the London Spitfire also used that style? Check, right?
Okay,
do we have
long one.
Do we have a player? Do we have a player that can match up with Flood and Linkster? Check in theory, but not actually.
All right.
And the map pool is also fantastic for the Houston Outlaws. Eichenwald, Horizon, and Junkertown, all of these maps they are undefeated on. So you'd think this looks really good, but with the loss of Linkser today, I think it really brings it back down, and this is where the hype killing comes in a little bit, unfortunately.
I know. It's already begun. You know, Clockwork performed admirably in their last match, but, you know, you really wish you could see Linkser if you're on the Houston Outlaws side of things. On the Seoul side of things, I think you got to be a little bit happier because we've got Jaehong in again today rather than Guido. And although, you know, Seoul seemed to have a lot of, you know, support for this guy in their last match, I think there's just no comparison between Guido and Jaehong and what Jaehong can do for this team in terms of his synergy with Toby, in terms of the individual playmaking he brings to it. I'd say you go with Jaehong 100% of the time. I'm kind of shocked about that choice yesterday.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, and we are going to see if this will correct some of the mistakes that Seoul was making. But
we will see.
Stylistically, there's not going to be a lot of change from the Houston Outlaws, and if they play their similar style, Seoul did struggle with this when they played against the Spitfire. We're going to see Clockwork on Pharah, surprisingly, not a hero we typically associate with him as a player.
All right, cool Matt, listening in, trying to hear the footsteps of heroes he recognizes.
That's right. I think it's going to be pretty clear, though, what Seoul's going to run. If you have Wicked in the lineup, you know it's going to be pretty Pharah or Junkrat focused overall. Typically, Seoul has run Pharah Tracer on attack here on point A, and then really emphasized Fleda's Widowmaker in point B. But they're not going to do it, Doug. They're not going to do it. They're going to play Wicked on the Tracer and Fleda on the Pharah.
Interesting. So, see what Fleda can get done here. Jake, lurking around the back. Let's see if he can catch a support here. Going for Jaehong. Jaehong in a little bit of trouble. Takes some damage, but Jake not getting the damage he looks to. He does dodge the ult fire, but can't get the kill. Meanwhile, back to the point. Chase down. Oh! Turns around and shows Wicked who's boss. Man.
Yeah, interesting to me that they would run Wicked here.
Miro, you okay, buddy? That was odd.
That was certainly odd.
Huh. All right, maybe we'll call that a reset, I guess. Oh, Toby's rezzing him. Strange.
That is, you're not getting a lot of value out of that in terms of Valkyrie charge either. You can see Fanny right neck and neck with Toby.
Here we go. Coming in right now, Miro falls early, and ooh, that's a big fight for Houston Outlaws. Already 3 instant kills, and that's going to be Seoul Dynasty sent back to spawn one more time.
Yeah, things looking great so far. We keep coming in and playing that Tracer, even though they have 2 dedicated Tracer players on the roster in Bunny and Munchkin.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they change this up moving forward on this map.
We'll find out. And Raucus trying to find those alt fires onto Pharah. Every once in a while, you get to hit those. It feels good. Seoul Dynasty coming back in. No ultimate CUs, but dive might work out. Jaehong goes on early. Jake found him with the pulse bomb in the back line. That's a big problem for Seoul already. And Toby falls as well. So again, Seoul pushed back, and I gotta say, I would not, if you took the nameplates off and asked me who this team was attacking, I would never in a million years tell you it was Seoul Dynasty. They are not looking like themselves today.
Well, they looked a little bit out of whack yesterday, and remember that they are playing on an entirely different set of maps today than yesterday, so depends on where they put their prep in for the week, but they're having to play all 8 maps in our pool over a 2-day time span. Can be difficult to do that.
Yep, that's right. And Jake trying to find Jaehong. He's got him trapped in the room, but he's down to about half health. Gets taken down. Jaehong back to life one more time in terms of that bloodthirsty potential. And now Seoul trying to move onto the point. Still only that kill on Jake so far. It is a 6v5. Coolmat looking for the pharmacy with that self-destruct. He finds Toby. Gets taken out by Fleda though, and Raucus coming in for a bit more revenge on the Houston side. Zunba kind of standing alone here on that Diva, and that's going to be the end of the attack for Seoul.
And Muma doing what Muma has done best over the past couple of weeks, Doa. That Primal Rage came out early in that fight to force Jaehong to Transcendence, and it didn't get a lot of healing done. So again, he is successfully using the Winston Ultimate to cut off healers from the main bulk of the team, and nobody has yet to find an answer to Muma's positioning during that Winston ult, and it's been a big problem for Houston's opponents.
So after nearly everyone was dead on Seoul, Fleda decided to use a barrage on Pharah, got killed immediately, no benefit from it. I thought maybe he's going to switch, but no, he's still on that Pharah. But things definitely looking a bit discombobulated for Seoul right now. Whoa! And Pharah v Pharah sometimes turns out that way. Fleda brought back up again, as is Clockwork. Jake still harassing those back lines. Zunba coming back to try to distract him a little bit. Soul on the point now. We'll see what they can do. Fleta, res one more time. I think that's
Clockwork got Toby.
For Seoul Dynasty, and yeah, Toby falls immediately after that. They do get Muma though, so Soul's still in this one for the moment. In fact, they're getting the kills they need.
Only 2 left. It's Fanny and Jake on the point right now, trying to stall this out for as long as they can. Clockwork will be resurrected.
Oh, Jaehong again! That's 2 in a row. He's 1 against Jake. Bonnie brings him back up again with the Mercy ultimate, but there's not a whole lot of members of Houston on the point right now. We're into OT already. Jaehong finally pops that Transcendence as they try to clean it off, but no, the payload gets rolling right off the bat. And so, that'll be Seoul Dynasty barely pulling out point A in the end.
Yeah, just barely, like you say. Muma's Primal Rage not enough to get onto the point in time, and Jaehong.
Dude, that's 3 in a row now onto Jake.
Yeah, you can see that he's being boosted, damage boosted here by Toby's Mercy, and that is delivering in spades as he's picking up a lot of these kills. Fleta going to be sticking to the far. A lot of time we will see Soul play Widowmaker on attack here on point B, but feeling confident in what they've got right now. Jake is going to make the transition over to the Junkrat Clockwork on the Soldier 76 to help deal with this Pharah in the skies.
Yeah, some solid swaps for point B here. Fleta harassing a little bit, but it's going to be hard to dislodge Houston from the top there without any sort of dive. See what Soul does. He's just going to come in. Yeah, he's got his tank supporting him. Maybe looking for an opportunity for that barrage, but Jake goes down fairly early. Fell in the moat, I think, there, and they're finally going to pick off Fleta. So Houston manages to hold, but that payload made a little bit of distance. Got through the gate at least.
Still, you're going to be really happy with that if you're Houston. You nearly full held on this map. There's only a minute remaining for Soul to push.
Yeah, Zunba dying really late too, along with Miro, is going to slow down this push even more. Fleta finally over to the McCree, so making that swap now, but they really need to push this in a hurry if they want to keep the map going.
See that stat right there, 3 kills in a row for Jaehong.
Yeah.
Onto Jake as Tracer. Not going to be happening so much anymore with the swap off onto the Junkrat, but still an impressive win rate in those duels.
Fleta missing those crucial shots, but ooh, he finds the D-Mac on a Cool Mat. That's a helpful one, getting the Diva out of the way. Trying to get that momentum building for Seoul Dynasty. They've got Ults to work with, but Houston, a plethora of power on the other side as well.
Tactical Visor in play from Clockwork.
Muma goes down, support ultimates used. There goes Clockwork. Seoul Dynasty and Fleta starting to tear through these guys, and they will do just that. Bonnie not even able to use that Valkyrie. They've got one more defense coming up here, though, and they've got a lot of ults to use. So I think that was kind of a calculated retreat, if you will, for Houston.
Yeah, they have 2 support ults to use, still 1 of Dynasty, and Jake can also open up with that Riptire. So just waiting for the spawns to come in. Jake was the last one up, and now they're going to be going.
Yep, time to defend the payload. Not moving yet, there's nobody from Soul on it. There we go, now Miro jumps in as the dive comes through on the back line. Muma barely makes it back, but he's so low. Gets the heals in the end. Jake finds Wekied with that Riptire. We'll see if the self-destruct from Zunba can get anybody. Nope, they back off, come right back in again. And Rocket's down and back up due to the Valkyrie. Mercy ults coming in now. Toby with his up too, and there's the Transcendence from Jaehong. Can they grind this fight out? It's gonna be tough, and now the self-destruct from Coolmat. Soul on the run, Zunba nearly demeched from that one, but somehow stayed in it. And they're gonna get it there.
Wow.
Whoa, that was close.
Jaehong gets the Transcend up in the nick of time to push forward, and Soul somehow, with such a small amount of time on the clock, is making the necessary plays to get here through point B. On to point C right now. That means we're going to see a lot more barrier heroes, especially tanks, as Muma swaps over to that Orisa. Same thing with Miro in these narrow corridors.
And again, Soul finds themselves in the position where they really just need to have a non-stop push here. They can maybe lose one fight, but they really can't get slowed up much at all.
Oh, they're running out of time to even lose that one fight, Doa.
Yeah,
only 50 seconds, so can't keep on pushing forward. Fleta nearly there with the Deadeye right now. At least he can push them back. Clockwork taken out.
That's pretty crucial, man. Getting that McCree out of the way is a big deal. Deadeye, can they break the shield with the self-destruct maybe? They get Bonnie with it, and there's a shot on Muma. Good synergy with the Soul members, and Fleta on fire now with this McCree. There goes Coolmat. That payload is going to get some serious distance.
That self-destruct destroying the barriers opened up the opportunity for Fleta rather to get some kills with the Deadeye.
Well, catching Bonnie with the self-destruct was just a bonus too for
Yep.
Soul. They're rolling in here. Muma needs to jump on the point, but he's kind of on his own. Now the heals come in. Bonnie nearly has that Valkyrie. 10 seconds as Soul backs away. What are they waiting for? Toby's got the Valkyrie. They're going to get him involved here. Down to about 5 seconds. Zumba and Miro need to get there. Miro low health. They need to do something here. Somebody needs to get on this payload. They got there in OT just in time, but Zumba demeched in the process. Valkyrie is coming in. They're going to catch Zumba again. Can anyone get back to the payload? J-Home now with the Transcendence. And I don't know, man. I don't know if Soul can grind this one out. Houston looks like they're pulling ahead in this fight, and I think they've got it.
Zunba was killed while he was remecking after the resurrection, so that's a big tank down, and it's a slow cleanup process here, but Houston is going to hold just before point C.
That's right. So Seoul Dynasty able to nearly push it all the way through. A couple crucial overtime clutch moves, but in the end they can't quite get 3 points. Opportunity for Houston Outlaws.
I'm astounded they even got 2, Doa. Honestly,
Same,
that was such a short amount of time to work with in the time bank to go through the long curves of point B, and they pull it out just in the nick of time. So Seoul, despite a struggle on point A, actually nearly makes it to the end of Eichenwald, and they have set a bar now for Houston to reach for.
True.
This has been a great map for the Houstons. They are the Outlaws. They are 3-0 on this map so far, and it has also been one of Seoul's worst maps.
Yeah.
So the Houston Outlaws, without Linkser today, without their star DPS player, they need to win this one for sure. This is going to really set the tone of this series and what the Outlaws are capable of without running Linkser.
I agree. Now, if you look at Seoul's match yesterday, they were having they weren't able to quite stop London, but it was close on some of their defensive rounds. For the first 2 maps, in fact, London didn't actually take the point until they were under a minute left in the time bank. So Seoul's defense, while looking awkward, was adequate against London, at the beginning at least. So we'll see what they can do, but Houston certainly coming into this one with a lot of momentum. I'm still a little bit confused. Seoul just does not look like themselves this week.
Well, they haven't, Doa. We're not sure what's going on with this roster or the decisions that have been made when it comes to fielding players, particularly against London. They have gone back now, and I think they're using a roster that we would have expected on this map, especially using Wakid. Not necessarily on the Tracer, that was a bit odd, but certainly on the Junkrat.
True enough.
And Fleta will be protecting the flanks here with the McCree. Now, Houston Outlaws are showing us a very different style of attack. Jake is going to switch to the Junkrat. I think they were assuming the Pharah was going to be there, but it's
like
not.
they think they're on point C already here.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Try a slow push in behind this barrier.
Yeah. Zoning out Fleta a little bit here. Is Coolmat as they walk in. And McCree not much of a threat, but he will get some heals. Can't just walk up on him.
So Reese is going to be less effective than they would like versus an enemy Junkrat. But they're sticking with it for the moment. And they have
Jake.
slowly pushed forward. Jake is going to get a flank here. He's going to get Wakid with the mine.
And he is so good. Now he's zoning out Jaehong as well. Going to be hard to get past that trap. There it is, destroyed. But again, the zoning is real. Zunba does get clockwork though. So Houston losing a couple of people here. And Operation Kill Jaehong is basically all Jake is doing. In the meantime, his team is taking the point.
Jake did a great job of getting a kill onto a DPS and then zoning out the Zenyatta.
Yeah.
Made it so it was only Miro and Fleta left.
That was very fast, Houston Outlaws, and they've got tons of time now.
Yeah, they absolutely do have an enormous amount of time to work with here. And they're going to get it moving through this portcullis and on towards the castle. So we see no swaps coming yet. Muma maybe staying on this Orisa for a while. The Outlaws, in their match earlier this week, were preferring to sort of just stick Muma on the payload on the Orisa and have him ride it out.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly been working. Here taking some shots, and watch out for the Deadeye coming in from Fleta, but no kills out of that one, it looks like. And Soldier's playing this one pretty conservatively.
Houston is just so patient.
Oh, Jaehong. Ooh, that was close.
And slow with these attacks that they've been running. You can see that Clockwork really does understand the strategy. Teams have said that it wasn't hard to field Clockwork because he already understands the tactics and the teamwork that are needed in order to enact their plans.
Wow, how about that move from Soul just there? Zunba and Jehong kind of trapped in the room, and they come out, charge right in. They have the Transcendence, get a couple kills there, but that's going to be enough to push Houston back.
Yeah, holding on to a lot of ultimates as well, so
Yeah.
Soul being quite conservative.
Just good coordination. I mean, they kind of used Zunba as a jailbreaker to just push through the Outlaws, and only had to use that Transcendence just to get Zunba back into the teams safely.
Yeah. I'm curious what they're going to do, what Outlaws are going to do with this Orisa. They're really prioritizing holding on to him for the time being. Miro lurking above, getting some free damage, and then using that Primal Rage right away.
Oh, Jake barely gets out of the way there. From that self-destruct, Cool Matt pops his as well. Jehong does get the supercharger immediately. Huma falls to the Riptire before he's brought back up again. Toby in trouble again. Oh, Jake. We've seen him use that move before, and it's been effective, but this time around doesn't work. Fleta gets two. Gets a D-Mech onto Cool Matt. And so far, so good for Soul. Again, a solid defense, and they have ultimates to spare at the end of it.
That was a dominant hold from the Soul Dynasty.
Yeah.
They didn't bat an eye as Banny used the Valkyrie. Toby just holds onto his for that entire engagement, and Houston was trying to stop the bleeding early on. The picks came in fast for Soul Dynasty. They ended up using the self-destruct just to remech, and then the Valkyrie to try and bring back up a couple of the players who were picked off, but it ended up in a 6v6, and Toby didn't even have to counter with his own Valk.
Yep.
So this is looking like a long hold in progress for Soul, making up for the time they lost after giving up the Ghost so quickly on their initial defense.
And need to keep it up though. Oh, and Jake finds two, including Toby, who had just popped his Valkyrie. That's not good for Soul at all.
That is a clutch kill. It's exactly
Yeah.
what you need if you are the Houston Outlaws to keep moving with this one. Eliminate the Valkyrie and the Mercy at the same time.
That's exactly what Jake does on the Junkrat, man. He has been so clutch on this hero all season long, and that's going to pave the way for most of Point B for Houston.
Wow, it's hard to overstate how much time that buys you in this situation, because you need a big time play like that, perhaps a mistake from one of the support players, and as a result, they may go ahead and cap Point B.
That's right. You're just going to charge through them with the tranquility. You're not a bowling ball though, Raucus. You are a healing ball, and Wiki just waits out the ultimate, gets the kill there. Can Houston finish this one? Ooh, ult's coming in from Soul. They're throwing everything at him right now, and it may be enough to stabilize. They will, but no ultimates remaining now for Soul.
There's not a lot for the Houston Outlaws either. Still, Soul will stay in control of the payload for a little bit longer. Fleta's pushing up right now, trying to plink away and chip some damage off the members of the Houston Outlaws. Slow them down as much as you can as they're coming in.
As you can see from the stat there, Fleta certainly having a good round on McCree. Weki, though, finding the sure shot against Jake's Riptire there. Ooh, gotta be careful. Helix Rocket does some serious damage. All right, attack visor, we'll see what they can do. Ooh, man, Fleta got really low up on the top. Now the gun turns towards Miro, who is on his own, taking out Houston with two already. Jehong falls to the Primal Rage from Muma as well. Zunba charges in, but doesn't have any support. He'll go down. Toby brings Jehong back again. But on their own, without those tanks, there's not a whole lot they can do.
They're still going to win this fight, though, in the end. Toby used that Valkyrie to, again, bring back people who were picked off at the start of that fight.
Yep. Oh, Miro gets back just in time, and he's got his Primal Rage. I can't believe Houston wasn't able to push it through just yet. He's going to fall. That should finally do it. But Soul does manage to buy themselves a little bit more time, but Houston still with a minute 40 here.
Yeah, good hold on B. They got about 4 minutes of defensive time, but the Outlaws still going to be in a good position here to match the payload distance and beat it of the Soul Dynasty. So coming in right now, Jake. It's another Riptire already. Miro swapping over to that Orisa. Muma is staying on the Winston for the time being.
Well, he's over halfway to his Primal Rage, so maybe that's the philosophy there. You get it, you push people back, might work. Here comes a Riptire. Is Soul ready for it? I don't know, man. No, they're not. Miro and Fleta take him down. Here comes...
the counter!
Whoa! Wekied! You know, that's not the only tire in town, and Wekis does a bit more damage. Houston striking back immediately, though, with the Mercy ultimate, or rather with just a res, and they're going to come right back
though,
with these
he
kills.
gets another
It wasn't
2.
enough.
Jake actually redeemed that fight by picking up more members of the Seoul Dynasty. The back-to-back tire wars are won by the Outlaws at the end.
Zumba gets there. They need the rest of Seoul to show up, though, if they're going to try to stop this one. 40 seconds left for the Houston Outlaws. And the last-ditch defense by Seoul. I don't know, man. Miro back on the point. They need to get a healer there to keep him up. Dead again, and that is it. Houston will take Eichenwald.
Toby died at the end with the Valkyrie. Both of the Mercy players, Vanny and Toby, have gotten the Valkyrie up, but Toby dies again. A couple of critical pickoffs on Toby really changed the tide of that map and push everything in the Outlaws' favor. And they're going to go up 1-0 in this series.
Impressive stuff from the Outlaws, as we were expecting here, but Jake, man, that guy on that Junkrat, if he could play it every round, every map, that would be a force to be reckoned with. But it was enough here on Eichenwald. Houston jumping out to an early lead in this series. I think we're in for a good match either way. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Assault right after this.
바로 가서 내 건 쓸게 이번에. 디바 형 이거 준바 형 정크레 날라오는 거 조심하고.
야, 저기 앞을 당겨봐 이거 앞을 당겨봐.
아 죽었다. 괜찮아. 죽었어. 뭐야? 밑에서 따왔다 밑에서. 괜찮아. 버티면서 해봐 버티면서. 야, 나 화물 볼 수 있는데. 화물 비벼봐. 비벼볼게. 비벼.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omened by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.